All right. You got some noisy-ass birds here today, mate.
I didn't bring them here.
Can't help but feel that you're at fault.
I'll tell you what, bro. I have had an avian kind of week. I've been seeing a lot of birds, different types of birds.
Stop.
What?
Name me someone who goes outside that doesn't see birds. Why is it a particularly avian week?
All right, I got a couple of answers to your things there. Okay, so first of all, name someone who doesn't see birds. My wife is Canadian, right?
And therefore bird blind?
Well, no, when we lived in Canada, the thing that blew my mind most was during the winter, there were no birds at all. And you couldn't hear birds, and it was like something that you realise, as you said, living in Australia, it's like, fuck, there's birds everywhere all the time. You never know. And then you don't hear them, you're like, what the fuck's going on? This is bizarre. It's weird. Then, no, I know I see lots of birds. Everyone sees lots of birds, but I had some incidents with a couple of birds, okay?
Please, go on.
Okay. First of all, got swooped for the first time by the Swoopy boys.
First time in life or first time in season?
First time this season.
Yeah,
obviously. Yeah, not in life. Come on. And then the weird thing that happened was I got swooped maybe 3 times riding past a place I have to ride past again today on my way to the gym. I'm a bit worried about that. But at the end of the swooping, a cockatoo just was on my face level path right at my head, like he wasn't moving. He was playing chicken with me. Yeah. And I moved out of the way. Another thing, I went camping this weekend.
Also, well, it was probably a good decision because, there was none of your mates around
no one's going to
rip
take
on
the
you
piss.
for dogging
I don't
out.
want a fucking cockatoo in the face. Sounds like a euphemism, yeah. And then this weekend I was camping and a bird I'd never seen before, he looked weird. It was one of those birds that you're like, that feels like that animal should have hands. It sounds like a train.
What?
I don't know, my dog's right. Yeah, it was one of those birds, he was longer than normal. He's kind of taller. And he looked like he was missing his hands. Like he looked like he should have hands at the top of that. But he came and hung out at our tent.
What are you talking about, missing his hands and being a long boy?
Well, like it looked like a human shape almost. I can't describe this.
Sure this wasn't just an armless dude hanging around?
He was about a foot tall. Maybe less than that, actually. A foot tall is a big bird, isn't it? No, maybe not. I don't know. Either way, it was this beautiful bird, showed up at the campsite, and we were like, oh, look at that, me and my wife, beautiful, lovely. And then he left, and we realised he'd just been shitting the whole time, shit all over our stuff. Some real black shit too, like it looked like he'd been on the piss the night before.
All right, well, that is quite an avian week you've had.
I feel like there was another avian issue, but that's it for now.
If it's not going to spring immediately to mind, then, it's going to have to sit on the avian back burners in the brain.
Avian back burners, that's good.
Just looking for sport headlines this week.
Yeah, welcome to What's the Go. And, we are tangentially a sports podcast.
I saw a headline that worried me a little bit. It said, Mike Tyson's ex fighting back. Is this some sort of new promotion that?
Whoa!
Tyson in the ring with
Given. What's her name? I remember her. Michelle Givens? No, something like that. Have you got it there?
No.
Okay.
Don't ask supplementary questions.
It's a sports podcast. But that being said, I don't know. Mike Tyson's ex, is that something you need to know as a sports podcast? Not really. Yeah, I don't know. That seems like domestic violence to me. I'm upset with So I like Mike Tyson. I think he's a very interesting man. But I dislike his period where he was beating women and raping people and stuff.
Do you really? I'm glad you've come out and said that.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd get that on the record.
You're not condoning the rape and beating?
No, I'm not a fan of it. But I think Mike's a very interesting dude. Did you? I
think many psychopaths are interesting dudes.
Yeah, good point. And he really psychopathed up the other day on his Joe Rogan podcast appearance,
right?
When he said, "When I think of violence against others, I get an erection."
Yeah,
that's pretty strong words.
It is, but
bewildering words.
I felt that kind of went without saying. He seems very much like this getting off.
You'd kind of. You'd be more intimidated if a bloke in a boxing match came in with a hard on.
With the shorts kind of sticking out.
It'd be weird, especially in an MMA.
It would, but also it'd be a bit hard to avoid low blows because you'd be just thinking about it a lot.
It's very ghostly wind today. I don't know what's going on with that. Sorry if you can hear that at home. Well, Stu, you're, ostensibly the host of this podcast. Can you, tell me some news?
I was getting to it.
Yeah, good, all right.
I was making a joke about Mike Tyson in the boxing, fighting his ex, but didn't sort of land all that well, if you'll excuse the...
boxing reference, good one.
Okay. Welcome to What's the Go? It's the Tangential Sport Podcast. We like talking about sport, and we kind of get around to it sometimes, at some point.
Yeah.
Hi, Monty.
Hey, mate, how you going?
All right, mate. Introduce me. My name's Stu.
Oh, hey, okay, sorry. Hey, Stu, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you for asking.
That's all right, mate.
Some sport headlines. Why not just start with what we should be starting with,
That's how we do. Yeah, go on. What do you got, mate?
Aussie Richie Port, third in Tour de France, right?
Yeah.
And 2 people arrested in relation to doping during the Tour de France.
Yeah.
As it was going on. Aki Samsic being investigated.
I think that's the name of a team, not a person.
Okay.
Yeah, just clarifying that for our listeners. Oh, they did. Sorry, they had some funny names. It was that team Arky Samsic or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And there was Pablo, Esteban, and Warren. And I was like, that's funny. He doesn't quite fit with the other team.
No, but Pablo Esteban's pretty...
Esteban's a
pretty
good name.
close to another drug-related name.
Yeah, Richie Port, you know much about him?
No, I didn't know he was Australian until I just read the thing before. Australian cyclists don't get enough bloody sizzle, do they?
Didn't Cadell win the Tour de France? Yeah. Cadell Evans, yeah.
Pretty sure he did.
Who was the other one that we had that was pretty good?
Oh, God.
We had another one.
Cadell's the only one I really...
I think there was one further back.
Yeah.
Are they all on drugs?
Half.
Yeah, it feels like... have you seen their legs?
But you made a pretty good point before.
Thank you.
These guys... Oh, and I won't tell people what it is.
Yeah, good.
Just that it was made. You said the finished 17th or something?
Oh, yeah, this team were... Is it finished? Yeah, it is finished. Yeah, they came 17th. So they're taking the wrong drugs.
So the drugged up team 17th.
Yeah, you got to get better. Look into... Who is... Stephen Dank. Get Dank on the phone.
Dank it up.
Yeah, get Dank on the phone. Get the peptides flowing. You'll be loving life. Do you like... I quite enjoy watching the Tour de France on SBS.
Look, I have in previous years, particularly when I worked for some time... at a place called Media Monitors, which is now called Essentia. And I worked 11 at night till 7 in the morning.
Okay.
So...
Monitoring media?
Yeah.
Why? Well, not why did you... I mean, it's a job, but why? What did the company do?
I can't tell you that, otherwise I'd have to...
ASIO related? Yeah, sure.
Destroy you.
Yeah.
But... that's prime kind of European sport watching kind of time. So, Tour de France... was getting into it, and they were bizarrely you just sometimes get into groups or
pelotons,
certain groups of people who all enjoy a sport together at the same time. Randomly.
Yeah, it's great. It's lovely.
I'd never heard of anyone that interested in Tour de France until I worked there. Then all of a sudden, everyone's interested in Tour de France.
Yeah, it just happens.
That was a boring point. I don't know why I made it.
No, I don't either. I quite liked when they have the French guy who cooks with 5 sticks of butter each every 10 minutes in the SBS coverage of Tour de France.
Gabriel Gatte.
Yeah, that's the boy. Yeah, he loves butter.
Who are you actually talking about?
Well, I don't know. I think the guy on SBS who does the cooking bit. Each night they have a cooking bit.
Oh, okay.
You never seen that?
I don't remember it. I'm talking about when I used to watch it bloody years ago.
Okay, well, what they do is they have, I believe he cooks a regional specialty from the day's place, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's always Frenchy, buttery stuff.
Well, if I'd known that beforehand, I would have been watching it. If I was going to see an interesting race and some buttery cooking.
The things I enjoy watching about it are the scenery, like the southern France backgrounds and stuff, the cooking, and I really enjoy watching them struggle up a mountain.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
You chose this sport, you idiots.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, having a beer, watching them cook buttery food, watching these guys bust their asses up a mountain. It's great.
Also, do the cyclists see the people cooking buttery food? Because they wouldn't be able to eat that.
It's a forced stop. They all have to stop. There's a guy in the middle of the road. He cooks a lobster with a ton of butter, then eats it himself while they all watch. They're all looking at their watches going, come on, what are we doing here, Gabrielle? What's going on?
Oh, God. All right. Well, yeah, maybe I should get back into Tour de France. You've written down here a headline for me. Hulking golf jock Bryson DeChambeau wins US Open. Hulking golf jock, is that your phrase, or did you purloin that from someone else?
No. But I take it back, as he's not a jock per se. He's quite smart. I believe he has a physics degree, actually.
Well, that begs the question, can you be a jock and smart at the same time?
No.
No? Jock means exclusively dumbos?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
Bryson DeChambeau decided to take a new kind of, not a new thing, but his thought was, I'm going to bulk up, muscle up, really put on weight, and just smash the drivers as far as possible. There was a par 5 in the US Open, I believe, this week, where his second shot was a pitching wedge.
That's awesome.
That's crazy, bro.
That's Long John Daly stuff.
That's crazy. Yeah, so they get a bit of John Daly.
He's got cancer, by the way.
Has he?
Long John, yeah.
I didn't know Long John Daly. That's no good. I like John Daly. He seems good. No surprise he's got cancer, though.
He's got a very sportsman's attitude to life, doesn't he? A very athletic attitude to life.
Is that sarcasm? Is it?
It is.
Yeah, he does. Didn't he apply successfully to be the first person to use a golf cart at a major?
Oh, I'm going to have to
I think he did.
That'd be awesome.
I think he did.
Yeah.
So Bryson decided to put on heaps of weight and do this. And so he won this win. And
what do you mean he decided to put on weight?
After he was doing not so well about, I believe, 3 years ago or something,
he
had a press conference and said, I'm going to put on lots of weight, muscle weight in the upper body.
Right.
And kind of like
power.
Yeah.
Not just, I'm going to eat a lot of shit.
Well, he's quite big. And during his press conference, he's drinking protein shakes.
Yeah.
And that's why he comes across as a jock. But, and so it appears to be working for him so far, but the question is longevity. Can this be sustained? Can you?
Do you mean the bulking up? Like,
can you hulk out golf tournaments for good?
At some point, your body's going to stop expanding.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. He's no like half Thor Magnuson or any of that kind of stuff. By the way, we're going to have a strongman episode coming someday soon. So,
really?
Yeah, be ready.
All right.
Yeah.
Just clench everyone in preparation for that.
Good. Anything? You got any thoughts on strongman golfers?
I just didn't know it was a thing. I've always been taught that swing's technique. That's it. It's your swing is technique. Surely
it's technique to a point, but then once you can all get the technique, then the two can do it quicker.
Maybe, but like I would have thought.
Yeah, go on.
And maybe this is what happened. I would have thought that if you had a good swing, suddenly changing your body's kind of weight and muscle mechanisms would throw your swing out.
Yeah. I assume he would kind of work on it as he went.
But what I think you were saying was his swing was shit. So bulking up is actually not kind of thrown.
No, it's helped him. It's helped him. Yeah. All right. There's a good video, we can post it on our socials actually, of linebacker for the Houston Texans, J.J. Watt, smashing a golf ball out of a driving range. It's pretty cool. So, and that made me think it's strength. Like this guy just muscles it out of there.
Yeah. Okay. But I wouldn't have thought, going back to Long John,
I
wouldn't have thought he was the strongest player.
No, I think you used his weight well.
But that's a different thing.
It is, I agree. This is new. This is what he's doing now. Different, new. And that's why they don't think it's sustainable. They think he'll break down.
Okay. NFL football to be played in Las Vegas for the first time.
Speaking of which...
Hey?
I'm going to check the score right now.
Do that.
This will be the first time ever we'll have a live score update. Yeah.
Brilliant for a podcast when people might listen to it in 3 days' time.
The Saints are up 10-0.
Right.
So I wrote this down for you because I thought, in a regular year, non-COVID year, so this has happened with the hockey and now NFL, right? There are 2 Vegas teams. Will this adversely affect teams coming in?
What? Being in Vegas?
Yeah.
Because it's so hot or because they might want to go and gamble?
Gamble and get on the piss and party all night the night before.
Is that why there's been no games there before?
No. The reason there was no games before was the sensitivity to betting. Because it would be legal in that state to bet live at the game, which was something America was not into before.
Oh, I see.
But now with the legalised federal sport, I don't know if it's federal, but definitely a majority of states legalising sports gambling.
Huh.
That's part of the reason it's come back.
How interesting.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like it sets up a great weekend for you. Follow your team. You're like, oh, Edmonton Oilers are going to play hockey in Vegas. I'll go down for the weekend. I'll get on it and, have a good one. I think it's great. What are your thoughts on Vegas-related sports?
I don't know. I've never been to Vegas. I can't say it's ever been at the top of my wish list, but I wouldn't knock back a free trip there if I happened to play for a team and it was part of my work duties.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I don't know what else to say on top of that.
I don't think we got much more on that one. Let's continue on to the next headline.
I think the Hangover movie showed me everything there is to know about Las Vegas.
The honest player has no chance at all.
You were concerned that it's Mad Monday for the AFL, given that the regular season's over, and you're worried they're not having, some clubs aren't having a Mad Monday?
Well, I'm worried that there's, especially with the AFL, I find it's quite often about the funny dress-ups and all going to a pub. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I haven't seen any of that. I was looking, woke up this morning. I was like, yeah, great, I'll see some funny
buddies. They can do funny dress-ups and look at each other in silly costumes on Zoom, surely?
Surely, but I want to see pics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not getting pics currently. So what's that about?
So what we need is some sort of Mad Monday official club photo shoot.
That sounds good. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, like
get all the zany gear in there.
As zany as you can.
5 to 10 minutes, click off a few photos, send them through, and then, we can go back to, sticking a finger up each other's bottoms and whatever else happens on Mad Monday.
Yeah.
That's on the Richmond's agenda.
That's a Richmond thing, I believe, yeah. Do you have any good recollections of Mad Monday, whether it be NRL or AFL? Not yourself, but... Didn't 2 blokes get on a rooftop and refuse to come down once?
Are you talking about...
Blake Ferguson and... Yeah. That was funny. That was weird.
Josh Dugan.
Didn't some roosters get naked?
I don't know if that was Mad Monday. That wasn't Mad Monday.
That was just a regular Thursday.
It was just a day when they were on a drinking ban.
Ah, great.
And they took a photo of themselves sticking their fingers up and drinking vodka cruises.
Ugh.
Like...
What respecting grown-ass...
If you're going to break an alcohol ban...
Rugby league
You're going to break it for vodka cruises? What the... Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
I just want to understand your concern. So you're not going to see all the funny stuff that's going on.
I like the funny outfits and the, this guy's he's slapped someone, or oh no, he's done a public urination or something like that.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of the few benefits for AFL and NRL of these COVID times. They're not going to... The dickheads aren't going to get a chance to stuff things up in a public
way. Yeah, I was going to say, in a public way.
Suns coach Stewie Dew filmed taking a leak in public.
There you go.
Now, there's a twist to this. Taking a leak in public, we've all been there.
Yeah,
we've all had to do it.
It's it's bad. I don't condone it, but it's low down on the rungs, right?
Yeah, look, it's not that bad, really. Like, you assume most people, if there was a toilet available, they use it. So clearly there wasn't a toilet available.
No toilet available.
So there's something weird about this one, you were saying?
Yeah, I believe it was filmed by a club official. And then leaked.
And then released to the press?
What? Yeah, surely you'd keep that in-house. Stewie Dew, what are you doing?
Keep the pee in-house or the photos in-house?
Keep the photos in-house.
Right, okay.
I think it might be a video, in fact.
Yeah. Well, that's but Is he under threat of like losing his gig and someone wants him out the door?
Maybe that might be it. Maybe it's an official who wants his job. So he's trying to gather.
Oh, so like a club official who wants to switch over to coaching.
Maybe. Nice. Look at the good coaching I've done. I got this footage. That's not coaching, Gary.
No. Comes in down in his suit and tie. All right, get the cones out, boys.
All right, that story doesn't have much in it. No. What else we got?
You said unlucky Warner dismissal. I've got no idea what the fuck you've written here.
Okay, well, what it was, did you see there was a Warner dismissal? It must have been in the IPL. It was one of those ones where he's hit it straight back at the bowler.
Right.
And the bowler's gone for a catch, hasn't caught it, but it's touched the bowler's hand and then hit his opposing batsman's wicket.
Yeah.
The article said cricket gods don't like Warner or something like that, or cricket gods don't shine on Warner.
Nor the fuck should they?
But it's not cricket gods. I believe in cricket science, was what I was saying. Yeah. And it's just like unlucky. It's like, and it's not that weird of a dismissal. It's weird, but it's like, it's not that weird. It happens.
Happened a bit,
yeah. What's the go? You're a bit more of a cricket man than myself. I said the thing again, if I was to hit it back at the stumps and it does break the stumps, but it hasn't been touched by an opposing player.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Can I run?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they would have to then take a stump out of the ground?
That's right.
Yeah.
If they were to try and run you out, yes. Someone would need to take the stump out of the ground while holding the ball.
Now, that's another question. They would have to hold the ball and take the stump out of the ground. It wouldn't be okay enough to throw the ball hard enough at the stump that it came out of the ground?
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes that happens.
I'm reasonably sure
you have to
pull the stump out with your hand.
Could you do like an electric chain style pull out where there's about 5 guys and the 5th guy is holding the ball and one guy's pulling the stump out of the ground?
That's incredible.
Yeah, that
and I suppose if you can take a catch while it hitting one person's hand and then the second person catching it,
what's the difference?
Why not? Exactly. Oh my God. So what we're going to have now?
Set up though.
No, but you can start setting fields for the electric
fence stumping. I love it. Yeah, you get 5 slips in the slips cordon.
No.
Get them to grab hands.
You start having a mid-on cordon.
Yeah, mid-on cordon. Nice. That are close enough together to grab hands if need be. You ready to pull a stump?
Grab each other, boys.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's great. Now let's have a break. Yeah. Come on. You know what time it is. Time to pick a fucking date. Pick a date, motherfucker. Pick a date. Pick a date, motherfucker. Pick a date. Pick a date and we will talk about it. What's happened that day through the years. Pick a Date is the podcast where we pick a date at random and go back and look at interesting stories from that. Actually, the bad rap explained it pretty well. Subscribe to Pick a Date wherever you get your pods.
I wanted to tell you, Stuart, I found something quite interesting in the sports world this week about Tommaso Berni.
Okay.
A 37-year-old backup goalkeeper at Inter Milan.
Yeah.
I believe he's retiring, right?
Goalkeepers retire
can keep... Yeah, Dino Zoff, mate, went into his 40s and played at the World Cup.
Schwarzer went into his 40s?
Yeah.
How old's Loris?
Hugo'd be pretty young. I reckon Hugo'd be about 24, 25.
No.
Let's look that up. Hugo's a young fella, I believe.
Well, who am I thinking? I'm thinking someone else.
Fabian Barthez, perhaps?
Maybe.
He's 33. There you go.
Oh, okay.
That's, that'll do.
Sorry, I took you off track.
That's all right. I was telling you about Tommaso Berni, who is a backup goalkeeper for Inter Milan, right? And he retires with some very interesting Inter Milan stats. He finished the 2019 to 2020 campaign with this stat line. Matches, 0. Goals, 0. Assists, 0. Yellow cards, 0. Red cards, 2. Did not play a game, but got red carded twice. I believe one was for descent towards the referee from the bench.
Well, that's loud descent. Was the referee in the middle of the field?
Also, and I want to find out what the other red card was for. Yeah, he's been sent off twice. Yeah, so I believe it was two descent red cards. That's great.
Oh, well done.
So one was just a regular descent yelling at the guy, and the other was a sarcastic hand clap for sending someone else off towards the ref. It's Italian football, of course you can. Your hands are very important.
Red card for
sarcastic hand
claps?
I'd get heaps of them. All right, mate. You had something to tell me?
Yeah. So we've had our first listener request, actually.
A request? It's
not
a fucking radio song program.
Well, we do ask people to answer questions for us. It's just that they haven't answered anything we asked. They've just given us something else.
That's fair.
So I, during the week, I often look at what Phil Gould is tweeting, right?
Gus.
Yeah. And somebody asked him a question of what they eat when they get to it was a Friday night game or something, I think they said.
Okay.
They said, what are you going to eat tonight at the game? Pizza? Sort of thing. And Phil Gould replied to that saying that, no, Rabs brings his own Devon and tomato sauce sandwiches.
That doesn't surprise me at all, right? Yeah. That feels like... Devon and tomato sauce a little surprising, but the fact that Rabs brings his own food, I assume it's packed by Share.
Share, yeah. But right. Also, every week, Devon?
He strikes me as the kind of bloke who is a creature of habit, doesn't get on planes, hates Snoop Dogg, wants to eat Devon and ham.
Fine. I grew out of eating Devon when I was, 15 maybe?
I sneaky like a bit of Devon occasionally.
That's fucked.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's fucked is what it is.
What is it really?
Everything.
Yeah, just a gloop of everything pressed into
anything
a
they
log.
find on the floor after a day of slaughtering for real food.
Wow.
That's, yeah. But anyway, the request is...
Request for us?
Oh, well, for me particularly.
Okay, yep.
We started talking about the idea of if Rab started doing live sponsor reads in the...
Oh, yeah.
And if he did one for Devon.
Oh, nice.
Because he got a little Devon sponsorship to sponsor his sandwiches.
Yeah, you got one for me?
So it might sound a little bit like this. The Rabbits now lead the Broncos by 2. We'll be right back. And whenever I'm calling the greatest game of all, from Taumalolo to Tuivasa-Sheck to Leilani Latu to Nickel Klogstad, I like to take a break with a beautiful Devon and tomato sauce sandwich. Devon and Masterfield sauce on some tip-top white bread will help you reach the 80th minute mark like you started the first. Whether you're calling it or cutting it, Devon. Geez, that's good stuff, I tell you what. So
that was pretty brilliant, mate.
There you go.
That was pretty bloody brilliant.
Didn't practice that either.
I had a thought for a kind of like the show Black Mirror.
I do.
Yeah, so that kind of thing, but podcast melded together, right? Where it's the future, but we have chips in our heads, so occasionally we'll just be talking to someone and then do a read that we didn't decide to do.
Wow.
Yeah, so like just you and me chatting at the cafe and then I go, also time to buy Nike or something,
so
you know what I mean?
Unconsensual.
Yeah, unconsensual, like I just start telling you about a product and do a read.
Yeah. Also, because we were talking about food then, Devon sandwiches, and you said we have chips in our head.
Yeah.
I honestly thought for a minute you were talking about like a fry.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
Okay.
Like a computer chip.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Like, can you at least have a block list of things you don't want to unconsensually advertise?
The thing that
I don't want to advertise News Corp papers.
Yeah, no, God no. But it's not your choice. There's a chip in your head.
I guess so.
Yeah. Now my thought would be like you're travelling along on public transport, and all of a sudden one person on the bus stands up and goes, "Everyone who wants a good newspaper, read News Corp." And then, I'm sorry, guys, it's the chip in my head,
But is it also the thing where apparently your apps can sometimes listen to what you're saying to target you with specific advertising? So you're also unconsensually listening to people mentioning things around you. So you can turn to them and say, "Hungry? Have you considered Devon?" That kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that. Now, if anyone is in contact with the Devon people, please get in contact with us. We'd like a Devon sponsorship.
If they didn't immediately leap on Rabs after hearing that every week he takes Devon...
Leap on Rabs like a security guard for Snoop Dogg. Yeah. Good. Sorry.
Every week he takes Devon and tomato sauce sandwiches to work. Like, you got to get on it. But also, are there Devon companies? Maybe I'm giving Devon kind of too much... I'm assuming too much that there's just completely Devon-focused companies.
Am I right in thinking Devon might have different names in different states?
You are.
Have we talked about this before?
Yes, we have. I'm worried about we've talked about it on this podcast before,
me too.
And we're recycling material already.
What happened? When were we talking about Devon and why?
Oh, fuck. I can't tell you that.
What's it called in other states? Help me with that. I remember you knew one of them.
Fritz in South Australia.
Yeah, this is feeling really deja vu-y.
I'm sure we have. I just can't tell you whether it was on a podcast or part of our everyday conversation.
Yeah, our weekly cold cuts convo.
Anyway, I'm going to move on. I think the last thing we'll talk about today is an article that we saw.
Yeah.
Saying that the Sharks have a record they probably don't want, which is that they're going to be the worst finals team to play in the NRL era ever. In that, they haven't beaten any of the teams above them on the ladder.
Can I just point out, though, it's a presumptive article because you do still play. I say you because I know that you're a Sharks fan. I don't know if you've admitted that to people on this podcast, but I say you. You do play Canberra in the last round. So you could, in theory, still beat a top 8 team.
Right, yeah.
I don't think you will. But
well, lost Sean Johnson as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Does old thuggy Chad Townsend come back this week? I'll have to look at that.
Ooh,
the guy that just, shoulder charges heads
Thugs McGee.
to try and fire his own team up.
That was great. That was a good shoulder charge too.
But, it's a bit... Does it say something about having a top 8 system that really... You got some people making up numbers at the end there.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, no one in the bottom 4 has won a premiership, ever.
That's really interesting because I think that's super specific to this sport.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of other sports, you get teams coming from quite low down and winning.
Yeah.
Some sports, it's more likely. Like the ice hockey is you get a lot of low seeds winning.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of it's you get a goalie that gets hot, stuff like that. And it's weirder because not only is NRL a single game elimination, which usually gives you possibilities for more outcomes than a 7-game or 5-game thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you got there? What are your thoughts? What would you have it go to? A 4-person?
6.
6.
Because, I don't know, like I think most years, even though, 5 and 6 haven't won it, you still think that they're competitive enough that they could.
What did Tigers come in 2005?
Ooh.
I think we were pretty low down. Maybe 4th, but
Yeah, I just can't see... I can't see how Cronulla go past the first week of the finals.
Yeah, I completely agree. You will be playing either Canberra or Parramatta, no matter what. So do you prefer either of those two? I think you get pumped by both of them.
Well, the doys, son.
So I found the Wikipedia for the 05. Just
while you're looking at that, was there something else at the cafe we were going to talk about on the pod that we maybe didn't write down?
Yeah, it was Tigers came 4th.
So Tigers came 4th.
Yeah, so that's why it was low, but it wasn't that low. And we won 8 on the trot in the last 8 weeks to get us to 4th, I believe. No, I don't think there was anything else we were talking about at the cafe that we wanted to talk about. I can't remember anything. Netball? There was that big breakdown of the netball season you wanted to do.
Now you make me look like I'm sexist because I don't have anything on the netball.
I didn't suggest sexist. I was talking the men's netball season. Is that a thing? Is that professional men's netball?
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Devon. Geez, that's good stuff, I tell you what.
Hello, my name is Piers Grove, and I'm a founder, publisher, and managing director. In March 2022, I'd just been named Managing Director of Australian Geographic and set up Scout Publishing. Then, everything changed. 404 Brain Not Found, the podcast for stroke survivors and their friends and colleagues. We explore the absurd experience and frustrating journey of stroke recovery. 404 Brain Not Found, a general experiments podcast on all podcast streamers.
My name's Stu.
I'm Rachel.
And we are fans.
Obsessives might be the word.
Of the 90s. The 90s. The 90s. The 90s. You can follow the podcast on your favourite podcast app. Rachel, what's the name of the show?
Swinging on the flippity flop.
Why the 90s?
We lived it.
We lived it. We were it.
Was it the best decade ever or the lamest? Let's find out.
Flippity flop.